how to find readers and how to keep them. Hello, I'm Sam and I am writing a low fantasy dystopia that is The Host and Mindwalker rolled into one. Have I hooked you yet? My writing style is inspired by the Hunger Games. Okay, we're reeling you in. Now what do we do to stop you flopping back into the ocean? How do you keep your readers coming back for more? Stick around and you'll find out. First things first, you need to know what your book's about and that'll tell you who your readers are. Hopefully you're writing a book that you would read. If you're not, I don't know why you're doing this. Because you're telling your story to you first. And you don't want to get bored of it. I'm never bored with my book. There's always something to come hit me in the face like a wet fish or a mermaid. The story itself is about these two societies that have been separated because of an environmental disaster, the world flooding. Then mermaids come up years later to the surface and discover there are still some humans alive. The main character's not human like in these books. I love reading POVs from characters that aren't actually normal, that are different in some obvious or internal way, and there are other people that love that too. So now I know what my story's about, I know who my audience is, people who are interested in difference and in future worlds where something's gone a bit wrong. Typically that's a YA type story, typically the government's not great, and typically people are united by a common struggle. But you can't stop there, you have to go further than that. That's too basic. I love the way that these POV characters interact with the human world for the first time, making things that were mundane really exciting and interesting. Things that we take for granted that they've never seen before. Both of them face prejudice because of who they are is perceived as having a direct negative impact on humans. Both of them have love interests who initially despise them and then get to know them and fall in love. These tropes that appear in both books and in mine create conflict and intrigue, but are also relatable. We always want people to like us when they get to know us, but we rarely experience that. So you can live vicariously through these characters and the characters in my story, and you can think about what other readers would want to experience that. People who feel different, who feel judged, who feel like they don't fit the general mould. So in my case, a lot of teenagers and young adults and people who are differently abled, a lot of which are readers. Okay, you've found your audience. How do you keep them there? It's all well and good to know what's popular, but how do you stand out against the tide of other books that are doing the same thing? Treat your readers. Take a step back and look at the start and end of your book. Look at the world, the events and your characters, and look at their arcs. At the start of your story, what is relatable for those three elements? And at the end of your story, what is aspirational? This even works for tragedies. What about your world is relatable to ours in a good or negative way at the start of your book? It's easier to find the negatives, especially for an arc. How does it mirror the real world? How do the characters feel real? What about their experiences links to real life? And then at the end, how has the world improved? What have your characters tried to fix or change for the better? Even if they've not succeeded, how have the characters improved and managed to achieve things that you wouldn't necessarily be able to in real life? Spoiler alert for the Hunger Games. Think about Katniss killing Coin. Something that seemed inconceivable at the start of the book based on where she was, but she has grown into the face of the rebellion, so she was able to take this opportunity to take out a rising tyrant, to safeguard the future. And this even works for tragedies because you can see where their motives were aspirational, what they were trying to do, what the world was trying to do, what they should have done. And in that situation, the missed opportunities will bring back your readers. The story won't leave their heads. They'll be thinking about what could have happened differently, and they'll open the book again hoping that it can somehow be different, but it won't. That leads into what you can give them. You lure them in with what they know, and then you bring them back with what could be. You give them characters that represent them, that showcase their feelings and their thoughts on things, and situations that mirror what they've experienced or what they worry they could experience. And then you show them a way forward, a way that this world can be fixed or cannot be fixed. You show them the path that the characters take and the choices that affect this path, that affect the world, that affect the characters in these situations. And then they'll be stewing in their mind about what would have happened if they'd have made a different choice. And they'll read it again because they'll want to know what are the things they missed. Plot twists work quite well for this because you have foreshadowing building up to something crazy happening that you sprinkle in. But having that on its own is not going to bring your readers back. You need them to have something that they want from the story. Some way of relating to the text and some way of experiencing things that they wouldn't normally be able to experience in real life. To sum up, Start off by drawing parallels to your readers, their worlds and their situations, and end off having given them experiences they crave and possibilities that highlight their importance within their worlds. I hope that made sense, I'm not sure. I had fun though, and so I might come back and rewatch this video later. And you should too if you like reading and sub to be a great scribbler. This has been